Welcome to the Exit Rich podcast, where the leading authority on buying, selling, fixing, and growing companies, Michelle Seiler Tucker, is dedicated to helping you find the path to retire rich and move on to your next adventure by exiting your business for the desired dream price you deserve. Get ready to exit rich with your host, Michelle Seiler Tucker.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Exit Rich. I'm so excited to have my very good friend, Bill Walsh, on. Hi, Bill. I've missed seeing you.
Hello, Michelle. How are you, hon?
I'm
great to see
How
you.
Are you?
Congratulations on the new book.
Thank you. We used to see each other because we would speak on the same stages. And
I know.
We would hang together, and my gosh, this little pandemic.
Now it's all virtual.
And now it's all virtual. That's right. So everyone meet Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh is, oh my gosh, where do I start? He's a radio personality. He's a speaker. He holds events all over the world. He's the CEO and founder of Speaker Training Team, which is Powerteam International. He helps business owners. He helps startups. He helps global brands really help build their business, help build a productive, well-oiled machine. What did I leave out, Bill? Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Most important, I'm a dad. So I have three of the most amazing kids. Austin is now 30 years old. Sounds crazy in November. Marissa, 28, and Evan is now 23. And two are getting married the next year. So that's pretty amazing.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yes.
And that is the most important thing, being a parent. I always say
100%.
the same thing. Yeah.
I know you're an amazing mom.
Thank you. I have a little girl. So you said you have two boys and...
2 boys, 1 girl. So the boys are 29 and 23, and my daughter is 28.
Are they following in daddy's footsteps?
Just my oldest son. He actually runs our internet marketing companies. And then my daughter's in dermatology, and my youngest one, he produces beats. He makes music.
Oh, wow. That's
pretty crazy.
That's awesome. So you've done a good job. You and your wife, I'm sure. It takes a village, right?
No doubt. My former wife is an amazing lady, and you're right. The toughest job is being a mom. And because of that, we have 3 great kids. So I thank God every day.
So you're also a best-selling author. You're congratulating me on my book, but you're a best-selling author on a book called Obvious.
Yeah. So, I did it right after the movie The Secret, because I know people, they can dream about it, but the obvious is that you have to get off your ass and go to work. What a concept that is.
What a concept, especially today, right?
You know it. More now than ever.
So tell us about the speaking business. I know that you hold events all over the world. You and I were always going to do something. We're always going to come to some of your events and train, teach entrepreneurs.
Well, you should do that. I mean, I'm a big believer that Warren Buffett probably said it best in the 1950s or somewhere in that area. He just said the number one skill set for entrepreneurs is public speaking. And I think it was really an offshoot of that. I had been doing so many events on business growth, and yet the speakers kept coming up to me saying they would watch me sell and close from the stage. And what we really specialize is how to speak and close from the stage, how to sell those 1K to 10K programs in less than an hour to strangers. And before you know it, after 5 years of our incubator course, Rainmaker, which we still do today for entrepreneurs, we launched something called Platinum Speaker Program, really designed to help a small group of speakers every year build their product box, shoot their videos, help them with their signature talk, how to fill events, how to get booked on events, who do get their contract done, get their brochure done, their banners done. And then we put them on 3 stages. So they get a chance to go out there and speak and sell, because I don't care what course you take today. If they don't put you on a stage, you're not going to learn to speak and sell. And this is something that I know you do well, but you've done it for years and years and years. But most people don't get any swings. They get to talk at their Toastmasters or something, but it's a speak to sell, which is really makes it so unique. And that's been a signature course since 2010. We've trained speakers all over the world on speak to sell, and we have entry-level speaker programs too, but that really is our signature program. I love watching speakers that have a story, have a message, have something great, how to learn to convert at a very high level from the stage on their own courses and programs.
So why do you think, and I've been preaching this for years, but why do you think business owners should be out there speaking? Why should they be on stage?
Well, I think you build relationships one-to-one, but you build business one-to-many. So speaking today is not what you think. It's not about having to go on stages. It could be on a Zoom. It could be on a Facebook. It could be on a recording. It could be on a telesummit. It could be in front at an Eventbrite. It could be where you're doing something at your local chamber, your Rotary, Lativ. All these locations are potential client acquisition events that you don't got to speak for more than 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. We teach people to what's called network from the front of the room. So quit going around and passing out your business cards. That was so 20 years ago. Literally go in front of the room, give them great content, give them a free gift or like a special report from your business that then gets them to opt into something. They opt in, then you automate the follow-up sequence. And one of our new SaaS products this year is called Mobex. We've created the first mobile, complete automated sales funnel for any business owner for under $100 a month. So literally imagine, instead of paying for all these mega website funnels, why not use a tool that gets a 90% open rate, a 30% click-through rate, puts them into your appointment calendar, puts them on your sales page, converts your sales, conversion time to 60 minutes versus 3 weeks. And so we believe that if you're going to be in business, you better be able to speak about your business. Right. At least be a lot more comfortable with it if you truly want to have more exposure to your company.
So the app is when you're speaking in front of an audience, or the app has?
Yeah, the app can be used anywhere. The app can be on your, so for example, you're on your broadcast today, right? You take off one of those Exit Rich signs and you put a QR code. And the QR code takes anyone that looks at your presentation through a phone, it opens up their phone right to your opt-in code. From the opt-in code, it puts them through your mobile sales funnel. So imagine if you're speaking on stage from this day forward, you tell someone to take a picture. If they put the phone up and like they're going to take a picture of you on stage, it pops up your automated app system. They opt in, they get all your social connections, they get access to your calendar, they get access to your sales video. You can put them on your Zoom call, so they can be an automated Zoom, linked to your past Zoom presentation. And then, of course, the only time you talk to them is if they've actually completed the survey. So if they're not qualified lead, why talk to them? So you're putting this on Facebook Live today, right? You could literally have on everything that you do from this day forward, text exit to this number, and it puts them through your entire sales funnel where you see they're in the funnel real time. And email gets about a 20 to 24% open rate. Text message about 90% open rate.
Well, we'll have to talk about that. We have a number that we use that we've been using on other people's podcasts saying, text Michelle, text Exit Rich.
Good. But you want to make sure it's a complete funnel. So you want it to be an automated full funnel.
Yeah, that one's good, but it's not a complete funnel. So I think your app is great. I'll take a look at it. And I think, everybody listening today should take a look at it.
It's a killer system. It's real simple. It's called Mobex. It's MOBEX. If you text Mobex to 26786, they just get a free info pack.
Okay. We'll make sure we include that in the show notes.
Yep.
So you've been doing these events. Before we dig deep and find out more about Bill Walsh and what you do and how you help business owners and help entrepreneurs become successful, tell us about Bill Walsh. What were you like as a little boy?
Oh, I raced as a kid.
Did you come out speaking?
I raced BMX bikes as a kid. Can you believe it? Now it's in the Olympics. I love it to see BMX racing in the Olympics because I did all that. I raced all over the country.
Kid? I
did for Factory Schwinn. I raced BMX bikes from when I was 10 to when I was 16. Had a newspaper out at 9 years old, so I was always an entrepreneur. But I just love the idea of building things. Right? I was never really cut out for a job. I'm truly unemployable, but I really understand what it takes to build businesses. And I think what most people don't realize is that my friend Greg Reed wrote a book called 3 Feet from Gold. And I think most people in business are always 3 feet from gold. They're right there on the edge of success and they quit or they give up because somebody told them they're not good enough. And I've been a big believer that if somebody has a vision, I can help turn the vision into reality. I can help them line up the money, the marketing, the partners, the social funnels, media funnels, marketing funnels, get organized, begin to execute. And I think that's always been my gift, is that I can see things in people they can't see in themselves. And I'm a huge believer in execution. No matter what the challenge is, you got to figure it out and you got to press through, because if you quit, all those negative voices win. So literally out of high school and college, became a trader. I traded currency in New York and Chicago. And I did that for almost 8 years. And I wound up getting married and having kids, and I wound up fixing businesses. I love doing turnarounds. I was an early on investor, and all through the 90s, my job was to help. If you had a failing company, I would be hired by the board to come and usually fire some family members and fix the company, or take it public, or close it and sell it. And after 10 years, I was burnt out. And in 2002, I teamed up as a marketing partner for a young company called GoDaddy, and a big company, a channel partner for a company called Franklin Covey. And we launched a business in a box called Successfolio. And we were short about $1 million for the marketing, but I found a big group in New York. They became the marketing partner. And in 20 months, we were in 20 countries.
Wow.
And then we launched a product, Rainmaker, in 2005, which we now market worldwide, is our 3-day incubator course for small business owners. The Venture Fund in 2007, the Masterminds in 2008, the Inspiration Conference 2009, the Platinum Speaker Programs in 2010, the Internet Marketing Camps in 2011. We became the main sponsor of an event called the Small Business Expo in 2012. We brought on, along with Google and AT&T and T-Mobile and Sprint and Dodge and everybody you can think of, Bank of America, Twitter, Facebook, Shark Tank, became sponsors for that event. And in 7 years, we went from 2 cities to 17 cities, just over 100,000 attendees a year. And of course, along that way, we launched local masterminds. But I still, at the end of the day, I love to help small business. Take what you're great at. If there's a big market and there's money in it and you're passionate about it, go after it. So people want the recipe. That's the recipe is, and I do believe in 10,000 hours to be great. You pay your price to get there. Mm-hmm. I've been honored for the last 6 years in order to be in the top 30 coaches in the world by Guru Magazine. And we have a big award ceremony with Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy, all these guys coming up in a couple weeks. So it's an honor to be a part of that group. But
that's wonderful. So you're in that group with Tony Robbins, huh?
Yeah, it's a fun group. You know what I mean? It's a really fun group.
It's awesome.
Marshall Goldsmith's almost always the number one coach because of his client base. He manages Venus Williams and the CEO of this and the CEO of that. And
hard to beat that, huh?
he's just a down-to-earth guy, though, that his whole focus on coaching is relationships. Yeah. Everything he teaches about who's you're connected to. And if he can help make those connections for you, then you pay him. And if you can't, I believe as great as you are, Michelle, I can bring people to you, but if they don't hold the weight once I open the door, it doesn't mean very much. Does that make sense? So right. I believe you can open the door for people, but they've got to be able to keep the door open.
Right. I didn't know that you sold businesses before.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I did not know that. What size businesses?
Somewhere in the 100 million to 300 million, somewhere, less than 5 years old, less than 10 million in revenue.
So you were an M&A advisor, or you just kind of?
Believe it or not, I lectured at the M&A Awards show every year for 5 years in a row. Yeah, I gave the keynote at the M&A Awards. And these are on the biggest transactions in the world. Because I talked a lot at the UN about disruptive innovation, about how disruptive innovation is changing all the face of business. Of course, not knowing what was going to happen, but 5 years ago talked about, that if you're not digital, you're done. Yeah. And of course, look at what happened in the last year that, if you weren't digital, you're wiped out of business. But the ones that went digital, the ones that they didn't pivot. I hate this, that I just pivot. They innovated. They innovated. If you look at Capriati's out in Nevada, Las Vegas, run by a friend of mine, George Chanos, the former attorney general, what they did is they immediately spent all their money on social media. They immediately began to do all the marketing on social media to drive Grubhub, to drive Uber Eats, and their stores expanded. They made pop tents for the drive-thrus. Outside the retail stores, they put up pop tents for drive-thrus but they didn't let people go. They expanded during the worst time ever. So it's a lot of how you handle it and how you moved your marketing dollars quickly to make a difference.
1,000%. It's all about mindset. When I wrote my very first book,
100% right.
When I wrote my very first book in 2013, Sell Your Business for More Than It's Worth, I learned that 90% of all startups would fail. But then when I did that research for Exit Rich, I was flabbergasted, and so was Sharon Lechter, because I'm like, Sharon, the business landscape has flip-flopped. Now it's only 30% of startups that will go out of business. But out of 27.6 million companies, those businesses that have been in business for 10 years or longer, 70% are going out, like Toys R Us, Pier 1, Kmart. You hear about the big public companies. And the reason they're going out, the number one reason is lack of innovation and lack of marketing. Lack of innovation.
Yeah, well, that 90% of your success is marketing. If you don't know marketing, you don't got to worry about it. People tell me you got to be a great salesman. No, you got to have great marketing.
You got to have great marketing, but you also got to innovate because you can keep marketing the same old stuff like Toys R Us did. And Toys R Us was in business 75 years, did nothing different. Same thing with Blockbuster. You know, they had the opportunity to buy Netflix twice. So it's marketing, but it's also innovation.
$50 million.
What's that?
They could have bought them for $50 million. They said, no, that's way too expensive.
But yeah, so it's marketing, but it's also innovation.
Yes.
You know, so AIM is everything. How do you work with business owners to get them to innovate? Because, you know, I always say when you're in your fog, it's foggy. And so many business owners are working in their business, not on their business, and they really lack innovation.
I think the best answer for small business when it comes down to that is that, number one, do you solve a problem? Does your company actually, if you solve big problems, you make big money. If you don't solve problems, you don't make any money. The other idea is that you make something better. Mm-hmm. I mean, Bose headsets have been around forever. But if you look at Beats, all they did was they made Bose sexy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They made it a sexy headset to wear, and they brought on a lot of influencers to say, hey, we love these products. And if you're not realizing that influencers are here to stay, you're missing the boat. You can run all the TV ads you want, but certain groups buy from what their peers say versus anything they say on TV. So if an influencer, whether micro or macro, says they love your stuff, their followers are going to buy it. And you're seeing this in droves. You're seeing that, you know, if any of the Kardashians like your product or service,
you're golden.
You're done. They'll kill your servers in a day or two because the traffic they can drive. Right. So it's really about innovating, not just in what your offer is, but also in the way you connect with your perfect customer. I think the future of marketing is educational marketing. I think you educate clients first. If they like what you give them for free, there's a good chance they'll come back and buy more and more and more.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, 1,000%. So you got to speak at Harvard, huh?
I did. I was honored there with Speaker of the Year. It was really quite fun. I gave a 20-minute lecture. And part of my talk there was how to connect with millionaires and billionaires. Mm-hmm. It was really fun because, you know, even the kids at Harvard, they go there for the network, but sometimes they don't know how to network. You know what I'm saying? So most of us were never trained.
Some of them are socially awkward. Many of them are socially awkward.
Yeah. And so once they realize that the most successful entrepreneurs are usually the most approachable. Mm-hmm. Once they move past the fear factor and just learn to have a great conversation, any door can be opened. You can go online today and you can type in Bill Walsh and Michael Jordan on YouTube and watch our video together. Now realize an hour before the video, I didn't know Michael Jordan, but it didn't matter because, you know, when you really come from a place of absolute faith, there's no fear. And when you're not trying to sell somebody something, there's no pressure. Does that make sense? The challenge most people have is that when they try to connect with the ultra successful, people can just feel like they're trying to sell you something right away. And that's an instant turnoff. It's like, oh no, you know, it's like going to a college frat party and you're an Allstate agent and you wear your Allstate, you know, door hanger around your neck. You go to a college frat party, you bring a case of beer. Does that make sense? And you bring a keg. Yeah, but you're not bringing your Allstate order forms trying to sell insurance.
Right, absolutely. So you've launched a lot of different startups, right? Tell us about the startup space. Yeah, tell us about that.
Tons of startups. So what I believe is in the startup world, everything starts with the leader. You can give me an okay idea with a great leader versus a great idea with an okay leader. The okay leader will fail probably 99% of the time, but the great leader will find a way. So number one, we invest in the leader, then the plan, then the systems, then really the process. And then, of course, what you got here? What's the exit strategy, right? Not how do they get out? How do we get out? If I'm the investor, you know, do I have a preferred way to get out first? If I'm the early money in, let's talk about a liquidation preference. Let's talk about conversions. Let's talk about, are they using convertible notes? Do they plan to go public with it? Because that really, you start the business at the end of the day, many times to sell it. It's either sell the business, take it public, or bring on managing partners.
Right.
Otherwise, all you've done is got yourself an expensive job. So you want an expensive job, be an entrepreneur all by yourself. And we teach a lot of this. You want to go fast, go by yourself. You want to go far, go with a great team. Surround yourself and don't try to find people, attract good people. It's a secret in hiring that people never get is they're always trying to find people. Become so good that people can't wait. They love to be a part of your network. I mean, this year for our top promoter, they get to win a Ferrari. They get $100,000 in cash. You know what I'm saying? So our top Rainmaker salesperson, our affiliate group, gets some great prizes. Believe it or not, people will work for money, but they'll die for a cause. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They'll be so much more inspired around the recognition, the cause. And that's why social impact's a big part. If you want to attract millennials today, you better talk about how your company gives back.
And Gen Zs, right?
100%.
You know, it's so funny.
If they don't feel that your company cares, they move on.
We did a celebratory dinner for our Exit Rich book launch as it made, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and a bunch of other lists. And I got schooled in the difference between a millennial and a Gen Z. I thought I had all millennials working for me. Come to find out I have all Gen Zs.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, your team is your team, and that's who you attract, right?
Yeah. So what do you give back? What is your cause? What do you give back?
So a couple of causes I belong to. One, I sit on the advisory board for a group called the Safe Haven Foundation. Mm-hmm. So in Chicago, we help 5,000 families a year out of homelessness. They've been doing this since 1994. Mm-hmm. It's run by Nellie Vasquez. She's a brilliant, they're both M&A attorneys and investors. And in 94, they cashed out and launched this program. It really is a solution to homelessness. I mean, not only is it's a 3-year program for the folks that come in. First of all, they get them back to realizing they're human. Then they help them understand what it looks like to survive. Then they teach them a skill set over 3 years. And then they put them into job programs. So they have their own job programs that are self-fulfilling. Like in the streets of Chicago, they clean Michigan Avenue. They clean O'Hare Airport. That's all awesome. They're all part of that program, connected with the city and the state. So I love what they do. We've got amazing board members. And they make a big difference.
What's the retention rate? Like, what's the retention rate? So
86% success rate.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, about 2 miles from them is the largest prison hotel in the world. It's called the Cook County Jail. And they have an 87% recidivism rate, which means they go back every 2 years.
Wow.
At a cost of $2 billion. They run a safe haven for less than $100 million a year.
They should duplicate that program in other states.
They are. They're opening Indiana now. They're looking to open Dallas. I pitched it to Governor Newsom in California.
What's the name of them? They need to open in New Orleans.
A Safe Haven.
The Safe Haven.
Safe Haven Foundation. They're on social media. They just finished a big walkathon to raise some money.
Wonderful.
They do exceptional work in their space. And I actually brought Nellie. She lectured at Harvard also.
Wow. So how many feet did they get off the street? Do you know? Since they've been in operation,
they house 5,000 families a year.
That's incredible.
And they're housing. They own all the housing facilities too.
What do you think is going to happen with homeless, given the current situation with rent? They just lifted the extension on paying rent. What do you think is going?
They added to it. They're going to keep the extension now.
Oh, they are going to keep it. I thought in Louisiana. I heard the other day that no, that's
yeah. It's going to get passed. They're going to do something, but I don't know that that's the answer. I think where are all the landlords that are individual entrepreneur landlords? Why aren't they on the steps crying, right? Because now they get no money. At the end of the day, if you just keep feeding people money, you're killing something called hope. Yeah. And if you kill hope, you kill everything.
It was my understanding that was not going to get it was not going to get extended. So
they're going to come up with a way that there's going to be a presidential order. You'll see that allows them to somehow get some form of it, because the crazy part of the $50 billion that was set aside, only $7 billion has been used. Like 90% of the fund has not been used. Wow. Now they might make it difficult to get it or something, make it easier, but at the end of the day, they could leverage that to pay their rent. So there's ways to do this, but I don't know that I'm not a believer in handouts. I'm a believer in elevation plans.
Yeah, me
Does that
too.
make sense? And so
a hand up, not a handout.
Yeah, a hand up is a much better thing, because a handout is nothing more than saying, just keep doing what you're doing. And what happens after a while, it's a program. And that's what happens. They get programmed to think, well, why should I do anything at all? And that's the same thing. At a certain point, why go back to work when I can earn more sitting at home watching TV? And a lot of that's why you've seen entrepreneurship rise, because while they're sitting home, they're building side hustles and they're still getting paid to sit home. So, for the ones that really get it, they're leveraging the system to build their own side hustle over this last 6 to 12 months or 18 months. And I don't blame them. I think it's a smart move. So we got to really curb some of that, because you're seeing small business be decimated right now. And you talk about closing. You're talking about closing companies that have been around for 50 years, and these aren't big companies with with big funding. These are small to mid-sized mom and pop businesses that have been around for a long time that they can't afford their payroll. They certainly can't afford their rent. So their only choice is to shut it down and maybe reopen a couple of years from now. But we know that most of them will not reopen.
Well, it's very difficult to get people to work. And then, everybody wants higher pay now. So they've been closed for months and months and months. And people are demanding 15, 16, in many cases, $20 an hour. That's hard for a small business.
And in some markets, I believe that probably is the case.
Yeah.
I believe cost of living in San Francisco has gone so outside the norm that you can't hire people from McDonald's. They would have to drive 2 hours to go to work every day.
Right.
And still couldn't get ahead by the time the week's over. If they're doing 40 hours at $600 a week, you can't rent a place in San Francisco for less than $6,000 a month. So How does that even? It doesn't even. It's not in the same realm.
Well, you got people leaving California so quickly.
Well, yeah, that's why they're moving out really quick because they know that Texas, Florida, a lot of other places is a much better alternative. Even though people do love the ocean, and California has been a building block for entrepreneurship, but they've really crushed a lot of it. And it's sad to see.
Yeah, it is sad to see. I'm from California. It's very sad to see. So how do you fix this problem? How do we fix this problem with small business?
Well, I think here's the real solution for small business. Number one is that they're going to have to really buckle down and be super. You can just write this down. Be super frugal. Mm-hmm. Frugal is king right now for small business. But the other thing that small business is missing is they've got to leverage grants. You have to look for grants right now. This is definitely what I call the year of stimulus. Mm-hmm. Next year will be the year of tax and inflation. So you've got about 4 months left of this year to apply for every grant that you can get where you can bring in and borrow at below 3% to stay alive. Mm-hmm. I think the strong will stay alive if they leverage these simple processes. Number one, be frugal. Cut every expense that you can that is not a necessary expense to bring on new customers or retain customers.
Yeah, you don't cut marketing. You don't cut marketing, but you do look at marketing to see what funnels are working.
That's right.
And cut the ones that are not and double down on the ones that are.
And that's why we feel our new Mobex product for every small business is a must. For $99 a month, you have a fully turnkey mobile funnel with a 500-person Zoom account that can run all your Zoom trainings on, and it's done for you. We build it for them. And for $1,000, they build the custom funnel, which is like 20% of the cost of normal funnels. But I'm telling you, it's probably about 100% more effective than almost every funnel that's out there. Because if you don't take them into your social group, if you don't put them into your private groups, if you don't give them access to your newsletters, this is all the free stuff before they talk to you. Then by the time they've talked to you, they're ready to become a customer. And this is one thing we figured out during this craziness of the last year is that everything's going to SaaS business models and membership sites. Mm-hmm. So whatever you're doing today, figure out ways to create membership sites for your clients to keep them all connected to help drive new business. Yeah. If you can lower your acquisition cost, provide the great value, do not lower your prices. Understand if you're a small business owner today, do not lower prices, just add more value. Just do something called value stacking. Don't discount, no 50% off sales. If you spend $100, we'll give you $10 towards your next purchase. That is not the same as 10% off. That's on the future purchases. And this is something we found is that if you can be innovative on some of this stuff and begin to get a much higher communication rate with clients, greatest source of new clients are from the clients you have.
Right. As long as you're keeping them happy.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go beyond the service. That's what I'm saying. Value stack. Don't lower your value proposition. Add value to it.
Yeah, supersize it like McDonald's does. Do you want French fries with that?
That's right, and they're good at it.
So what you're talking about right now is proprietary, like subscription models, the recurring revenue, and that's what we talk about in my book Exit Rich, because that's what buyers will pay a lot more money for. They'll pay for that. They'll pay subscription models. They'll pay for that recurring revenue.
I think they'll pay as much as 9 times the gross if it's recurring revenue model based.
No, that's only for SaaS companies, yes, but other industries.
Yeah, but for example, so I'll give you an example.
SaaS business, yes.
Yeah, but even membership, if you look at the NRA, right? The NRA is a great membership driven. If they've got more than 6 months to a year, if they buy every month like clockwork, people don't, well, they say, who's the number 2? Well, number two is the American Gun Association. They got 90,000 members that are paying $20 a month, but they only sell to NRA members. Do you see what I'm saying? So you can literally,
at that level, absolutely. But if you're a company and you got 2,000 subscribers, you're not going to get. So I just want to put it in perspective for people listening.
Well, but if you got 2,000 members at $10, let's say $10 a month, that's not a massive. No,
membership. We got a client that's got 2,000 members. It's a marketing agency. It's a digital marketing agency. Well, but I don't want people to have realistic expectations that they're going to get a huge multiple of growth. They'll get a multiple of growth if it's a SaaS business or if it's a membership company like you're talking about, like ARP.
Yeah, or they're also paying a lot, though, for large customer type databases.
They are paying a lot for large customer databases. That's right. I mean, you could be losing money like
more than $1 million.
You could be losing money like WhatsApp did, and WhatsApp sold to Facebook for $19 billion.
Right.
And WhatsApp was hemorrhaging.
Right.
So it's all about these proprietary assets like patents and trademarks and customer databases. Even I was talking the other day, Bill, and I'm sure you probably have an app for this, but you know how a lot of times somebody will say, oh, I got 1 million followers on Instagram. You don't got anything.
That's right.
You might have 1 million people following you, but you don't own them. They're not in your system.
The better question is how many have opted in?
Yeah. Well, not only how many have opted in, but do you even have an opt-in?
Right. Well, most of them don't.
Most of them don't even. So the better question is, do you have an opt-in? And most of them don't have an opt-in. No. So you really got to build those funnels on your social media pages to be able to capture percentage of those followers. I'm sure you have that built into your social media. Pages.
We do. We use text options and we do it through giveaways. So we give away stuff all the time, right? Whether it's a copy of your book or a download or a consulting or a strategy session or an event link, whatever it is, give it all away to have the person that becomes part of your group or your community. The money's in the community, everybody. If you're listening today, build a great community. And you're going to build a great value prop for the value of your company as long as you communicate with them on a regular basis.
Right. So talk to us about some of the challenges that you faced because you have a speaking company. So talk about innovation.
It's so much more than that.
So a pandemic happened. Yeah, I know. So much more than that.
Yeah. So speaking is one part. So there's the first part of our business. We invest in startups, right? We find companies need two things: money or marketing. The second piece is business growth. The third piece are speaker coaching programs. The fourth is masterminds. We run masterminds now in 30 plus cities and 2 big mega masterminds a year, all about deal flow. So those are really the 4 components. Then we have SaaS products, whether it's our success clubs or membership clubs. That's another part of our business. And then we do full business coaching. We have a whole coaching division of coaches that we send qualified leads to and we do revenue shares on. Mm-hmm. So the speaker business, going back to like March of last year, we do our incubator course, Rainmaker, right? Our 3-day incubator. We had 45 people for our class in Miami. And, by the second day, the hotel went from 94% occupancy to 15%. And we sat there at breakfast and said, you know what? We have to go digital. And so we did, as I called my friends, Mark Victor Hansen and Sharon Lecter and Brian Tracy. And I said, you guys want to be on a 12-hour Zoom call? I don't even know what a Zoom call is, right? We're going to do a broadcast on this network and we're going to put it out to our network. And we had over 2,000 people on our first digital event with 12 hours of speakers, right? We took all the content and gave it away. So we gave it away as a membership drive and then sold back into coaching and programs. But we went from 1 event per month to then we were doing 16 events per month, all digital. So everything went digital very, very fast. And I used a package called StreamYard. We used Zoom inside of StreamYard. We then broadcast to all of our LinkedIn, Instagram, of course, Facebook, of course, YouTube. But what most people don't use is called Twitch. So we broadcast on Twitch, which, believe it or not, is the number 4 most visited website in the world. And it's free to use. So when you broadcast on Twitch, you can get paid subscribers. And of course, it's owned by Amazon. So now all of a sudden you're getting free hosting, free videos on Amazon. And it's the only service that lets you broadcast on your website real time. So when you embed Twitch to your website, they can watch your broadcast, no charge, real time, and they can join your membership on Twitch. So once again, we started to realize there's so many new channels that were out there. And for less than $100 a month, we could run almost all this stuff. So it became where we cut our budgets by almost $5 million just in advertising dollars and event front end dollars, because we were renting convention center floors, right? So now all of a sudden all that spend was gone, but we went digital and we were still selling programs. And by October of last year, we realized that country clubs were called a necessary business. So we teamed up with a national country club group, began to run lunches there, very smaller groups with very high ticket. And believe it or not, our sales went through the roof. You couldn't go to church, but you can go play golf. Does that make sense? And so once again, they were not under the restriction of all these other programs because they were a necessary business. And, it's been a great partnership ever since.
So you partner with the Country Club Association and you're doing events at country clubs all around the U.S.?
Every week.
And those are live events?
All live events. They've been all live. We do 100. We do about 15 a month. So what are they? About 120 a year of those events alone.
And those are indoor?
All indoor.
And who are they inviting? Are they inviting the country club members or
members, of course? Yeah, the members and our own members, of course.
Yeah. And is your program the same or is it something different?
Still the same. Rainmaker. We sell it for $5,000. They get to bring 5 people.
So members of country clubs are already successful, right?
Yeah, but let me tell you what, the most successful people you're going to spend time with are also, there's a reason they're successful. They never stop investing in themselves.
Exactly. Okay. And so do you think you'll ever go back to the convention?
We're doing it. We got 20,000 person event coming up in just 3 weeks in Vegas. So yeah, we're back to the big events too.
So you're going to keep the digital
convention center.
You'll keep the digital space too, though, right?
We're not going to slow digital. Digital runs every day. So our digital is Monday to Thursday, live events every day.
Yeah, I would imagine you're a lot more profitable with doing digital.
They are, but the interaction, people I think started to once live started again, we saw the digital fall off. But if we just keep the digital as something special, because a lot of stuff we do is pre-recorded, we call them moderated Zooms, and then we run from there into our live events.
Cool. All right. So I invest in small businesses too. And you invest in small businesses. What's your criteria? Do you have like a quick checklist that you go through?
Well, what I talked about earlier is number one, I invest in the leader. And we only invest in products or services that sell back to small business. So we're very much in one niche that we own the customers to. We have our database is a little over 700,000 small business owners. So if you have a product or service that serves small business, we love you. If you got a product that's designed to help an oil rig somewhere, I don't care how great it is, not our wheelhouse. We just pass. Does that make sense? So we're very specific in the lane that we know, which is products or services that can help small business owners. And in that lane, we're the best at it, right? Because we're a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you have a brand new app that helps them manage HR, if you have a brand new app that helps them do time management, right? We can blow that out and take a revenue share right away. And our model is gross royalty revenue. So we take a piece of the gross royalty on what I call the delta or the change of revenue. So if you go from $1 million to 10 million, we want to get paid on the delta for life, for being a part of the business, whether we put in capital or marketing. Sometimes they think they need money. What they really need is marketing. Yeah. They really need customers to get on their product or service.
Yeah, because if you give them more money, what are they going to do with it?
They go back down the same path they were on before. It's not going to help them.
Exactly. So are you taking equity? Are you taking equity?
Great. We take an equity option because, Michelle, there's no value in equity in a private company unless it goes public.
Yeah.
Or it gets sold. So we have an option on equity. If it gets sold or goes public, I want to get paid on the gross revenue off the top. So if you get paid on the net, you and I both know that if they pay themselves all a bunch of high salaries and we're not the controlling interest in the business.
Normalize the financials and add all that back. We've been doing that for 20 plus years.
Right.
I normalize the financials. You got to add all that stuff back. All right, cool. So you said the leadership. Are you working with, when you said you invest in companies, are you investing in that leader or do you have leaders? Like, do you have a pocket of leaders that you bring in?
No. I invest in that leader. First of all, I invest who's the leader of the business. I don't care how great the team can be great, but if the leader sucks, no reason to invest.
What's your criteria to choose a really great leader, to know if it's a great leader or not?
Number one, they've got a great sphere of influence. They've had a sphere of influence for a while. They've had some of the same business partners for a while. Number two, somebody you trust with your kids. You can't trust that person, no reason to invest with them. Number three, have they already had past success? Doesn't have to be in that space, but if they had success somewhere else, right? I look for, I'll take a wounded eagle versus a good looking duck. Does that make sense? Because the eagle will come back. The duck's always going to be a duck. They'll always be quacking with all kinds of excuses. So I have found that those are some really strong criteria that I look at. Sphere of influence, trust with your kids. Have they done it before? Have they had some wins on the book? I don't want to be their first win. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 1,000%. So what's been your biggest challenges?
Our biggest challenge, of course, has been balance. How do you balance all this stuff? And it's really about, at some point, you've got to look at it and say, how much do we really want to work? How much more time do we want to put in some of this stuff, right? And that's why I like right now, as we invest more in SaaS products, to speak less, bring on more speakers that can just about replace me. And I enjoyed the year off. You know what I mean? I think it was almost like a year off, and it was fun hanging out and, I guess reading and enjoying family time. So the challenge for us is right now we're building new sales teams in multiple cities for our SaaS programs. We're also building speakers and trainers and coaches to duplicate me and some of the things that we do. But it's also looking for the right events to sponsor. We commit probably $1 million to $2 million a year at least just in sponsoring events. So we look for the right events where there's the right client, the right opportunity, and then just drive right into it.
Cool. So you need Seiler Tucker to be selling those businesses after you grow them.
There you go. Exactly.
And I'm glad that you're building your business with other speakers, because your business has been branded around you,
Well, I'm the one that closes the most, but believe it or not, but most people don't realize most of our sales come through our affiliates, not me. So when we sell the Rainmaker, it's not the Bill Walsh Rainmaker. It's not the Bill Walsh Platinum Speaker Can. It's not the Win Global, Bill Walsh Win Global Mastermind. We branded all of our courses without me, actually. Yeah. So each course that we offer now, people can actually train those courses.
But you kind of have been the face. You've been the face for a while.
No doubt. Yeah. 100%.
So that's good that you're rebranding. All right. So any last minute, brilliant, golden nuggets, ninja warrior secrets for our exit rich listeners?
I think the big thing is never quit. Mm-hmm. Don't let people
3 feet from go, never quit.
Yeah, don't let people rain on your parade, and spend more time with successful people. Spend more time with Michelle, because what she does is she helps you understand how to take the idea, build it, grow it, launch it, sell it, and get paid for it, right? If you look at the name of the book, it's very simple. Exit Rich. It doesn't say exit poor. It says exit rich. And this is what you've got to, before you launch the business or wherever you're at in your business, ask yourself this question today: how do I exit rich? And what does that look like to make that happen? And I would tell you for a fact that I've known you for a number of years, I think now a decade or more now, same with Sharon Lecter. And I have absolute faith and trust in the work you guys do. So get around people like you that are doing it, not talking about it. And I'm a huge believer that you don't know something until you live it.
Right.
You just don't know something until you live it. So go out and fail a few times. I have failed plenty of times. I've been broke and wealthy. Write this down. Broke sucks, but you'll always find who your real friends are. So is it okay if we give away a copy of my book today? Is that okay? Can we do that?
1,000%.
So
yeah.
if you're listening today and you want to copy my book and our newsletter and access some of our free events across the country, it's really simple. You text the word WIN, just WIN, text WIN to 26786. You'll get all the gifts. And Michelle, we should definitely talk about having you one of our upcoming events, because I know our audience will love your message as well. Absolutely.
That would be fun. And I would love to be there to help your clients build their business so they can exit rich. And that's why we named the book Exit Rich, because unfortunately, this, Steve Forbes says 80% of businesses won't ever sell. 80%. That's like a big slap in the face, right? Because that means you have less than a 20% chance of selling your business. So many business owners are selling for pennies on a dollar, closing their business or filing bankruptcy. They're exiting poor.
Well, you got to start with the exit rich in mind when you launch.
Got to plan it from the beginning. That's right. And that's what I need to come. That would be the perfect course for me to teach, how to build the end from the beginning.
That's right. Start with the end in mind.
That's Stephen Covey. Start with the end in mind.
Right.
All right. So absolutely. How else can our listeners get in touch with you?
That's the best way. They can follow me on Instagram at Bill Walsh 360.
All right. And we'll put all those into the show notes. Any last minute thoughts?
No, that's it. Keep up the great work. That's all. Go buy Exit Rich today. That's my last thought.
Yes, go buy Exit Rich at exitrichbook.com. Keep listening to Exit Rich podcast. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you share with your network. Thank you to all of our Exit Rich listeners, all of our followers. Have a great day.
Talk to you soon.
Make it a big day. Thank you, Bill. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Exit Rich podcast. Don't forget to check out Michelle Seiler Tucker's Build to Sell Blueprint books and Exit Rich, along with more blogs, videos, and resources at exitrichpodcast.com. Be sure to connect with Michelle on Facebook or LinkedIn and stay tuned for her next episode by subscribing in your favorite podcast player.